Hi, I'm Ajitesh, co-founder and CEO of Archie AI. So in this video, I would give an honest review of Cursor. I have done a couple of videos. I think I did not paint the real picture of where the tool stands today. So I'll start with things that I like about Cursor. So there are 5 things that I really like about the tool. So if you are coming from the VS Code world, the aspect of this being a fork of VS Code and really easy to get is something is pretty helpful. Like the switching cost is really low because I don't have to learn much of the context and structure. So that part is really nicely done. The second aspect that I like that if you are in VS Code, for example, and using Codium, another tool, it comes in the side nav bar. It's a bit clunky, and especially you don't want to go outside into some other tool. So the aspect that Cursor does really well is that it's because it is its IDE, it can provide interesting things. For example, I can do Command L and then talk about it, or things like Command K, and you can ask inline edits. So these commands and shortcuts are pretty helpful. And then this reduces a lot of your time in copy and pasting to Anthropic and asking about things. So that was a tip number first thing that I like about Cursor, that it reduces my time on going back forth with GPT. Even if it's not doing something unique, it reduces that time. Second, they have done some nice UX optimization on how to um, help guide the LLMs to do things. For example, I could use this mention to talk about particular files, that okay, take code from take LLM logic from here, and then put in this particular file here. So those things I can write very easily here, and it will execute on it. So that is pretty helpful. And similarly, the fact that you can search the web, there's some documentation written here. So these are not like technically very challenging things that was not possible, but putting it at one place is really nice of Cursor. So that's the thing number two that I like about Cursor. The third thing that I like about Cursor is the composer aspect, that it can do few things, like it can write the boilerplate. If you don't have not used composer, is control command shift I, and you can just write few, things here, and it can do multi-file edits. So for example, I added here, if I go at the top, so this was the thing that I added, and it went through my entire code base, created the code structure. So I think again for this one, there are a lot of tools out there, but you have to go outside of the code base. So that is something I think they do a good job of. The fourth thing I would say is it is feature complete in a lot of ways. For example, you can do chat with code base from here. You can review things, files, which is in beta. So I think that is also nicely done, that it's not a point and click like a small solution. It is covering a lot of things out there. You don't have to go for chat with code base to some other things. The fifth thing that I like is that they also give a lot of controls. For example, if I don't want certain files to be indexed, the way you want to enable partial edits or not, or chat with whole context. So there are some controls built in, which is different from other tools out there. Now, the things that I don't like about Cursor, let's come to that. Let me remove here. So the things that I don't like is the code-based chat. Like try asking questions to it about in a larger code-based context. So this file of repo is my pretty small, but I've tried it in a larger code base. It fails finding out the particular file, and the challenge is that we have been also building the solution in this space. It's really hard for LLMs to pinpoint and go to a right solution unless everything is in the context, because the code searches don't work as good, because the same verbs and things are repeated a lot in the code. Vector search also does not work really great, because uh, vector just gets the semantics of the code, but don't can go to very different part of the code base than what you are asking. So the code base things does not work that great. The second thing that I think is blown out of proportion is the composer. Like composer is nice, but give me an example where composer has really done your task end to end. Like it's a good boilerplate to start, but who needs boilerplate? Like on day to day of my job, I do know the structure and all, and this is the last 20% of the things that takes 80% of my time. Like I can also write boilerplate and design doc pretty fast, but writing it really well and doing the last mile where I speak to people, where I take customer feedback, where I speak to senior engineer, and improve it. That is the part that takes most of the time, and Cursor does not help in that. And the third thing that I would want to say is that there are a lot of hype around it being a co-founder. It's completely taking away engineers' jobs. I think that is not true. Uh, like we are building the solution in this space, and engineers can spend 70% of the time not writing code. Like they are writing design docs, they are fixing bugs, they are speaking to another engineers, doing code reviews, and not trivial aspect of code reviews that LLM can point, but higher quality code reviews, that is it something that belongs in this code base or another library. So a lot of things are there which are not automated and not solved. Even if you generate the boilerplate, doing the last 20% of the things is very critical. And even the starting part, like this code base is about building a performance review solution. Now you have to understand what kind of input should be, which factors should we take into account, what should be the external surface for customer, then take the feedback, incorporate logic, the feedback from the engineers, customers there. So all of this take big percentage of your time, and what you're saving is few percentage point in writing actual code. So yes, AI is a good tool. Cursor AI is a good tool, and it's doing that piece. But this does not mean that it's completely doing the role of a co-founder or a senior engineer. I think that aspect is overblown. So that's my honest review. That it does few parts really well. It's a nice UI UX put on top, and good call on making it a IDE versus putting sort of extensions on the top. But there's some aspect that it still falls short of, and it's not to the founders or the builder of the tool, but it's more about the community which is trying to project it in this particular way. Thank you so much.